Keep up, mate.
I don't think you're ready for where this is going.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We're back with another recap, and today's pick is the 2014 movie, Spring. It's going to be an interesting one, so let's get started. The movie begins with some weird breathing noises. Okay, that's a pretty creepy start. We're then shown the lead character, a young man named Evan. It turns out that the noises have been coming from his cancer-stricken mom. They exchange some loving lines in an emotional scene, and the mom says some joke about a florist and a rest in peace card. It's not really funny, and Evan asks her if she wants some morphine or a priest. Sadly, things get messed up when Evan wants to tell her how grateful he is. But as he speaks, he slowly realizes that she's dead. Fast forward to after the funeral, and Evan is drinking with his pals at the bar where he works. His buddy Tommy is a little weird, but he's got good intentions. They notice a woman having a hard time with a vending machine but don't think too much about it. They call for shots and Evan heads to the washroom, but gets into a misunderstanding with the woman's boyfriend. There's a heated argument with Tommy saying some really passive-aggressive stuff in between, and it ends with Evan losing his mind and venting out his grief and frustration by kicking the shit out of the boyfriend. His bartender buddy doesn't like the fact that he just knocked out like 5 teeth. Holy shit indeed. He tells Evan that the boss saw the scene and doesn't want him working there anymore. He suggests that Evan should take some time off. He understandably is pissed off and leaves with Tommy. A car follows them. The boys share a smoke at Evan's place, and it turns out that the boyfriend followed them back to his place to make some threats. They tell him to get lost, and Tommy leaves before suggesting that Evan should call someone for a sympathy lay, because he can only use the "mom is dead" card once. As questionable as that may be, Evan follows the advice of his friend and gets down to some sexy business with an old friend, or ex. I don't really know who she is, but she turns out to be a bit of a mood breaker and decides that she can't have sex with him. She does cuddle with him though, and Evan wakes up the next morning alone. He notices a cop looking for him outside his place. He decides to take a foreign trip to escape the law and asks his confused co-passengers if he should take a trip to Italy. I just love this woman's reaction. One Harry Potter movie later, and he's in beautiful Italy. He meets a couple of guys there who befriend him, and they decide to take a road trip the next day. They have some interesting conversations. One guy talks about an ex-girlfriend, and Evan is a bit uncomfortable listening to his story. Luckily, he doesn't have to bear it for long, as they hit the city. The boys are out chilling and exploring till Evan trades looks with a pretty girl in a red dress. The girl's name is Louise, and he's clearly smitten, and why wouldn't he? Anyway, the boys can't access their Wi-Fi because someone smoked the code, so they go out for some drinks. Evan finds Louise at the bar and goes up to try his luck. It turns out that she's pretty forward and wants to sleep with him, but this makes Evan think that she's a prostitute. They talk some more, but it's primarily a negotiation. Evan wants to take her out, but she only wants unpaid sex. I guess it's understandable that Evan wants an emotional connection after losing his mom. Anyway, he strikes out and his friends make fun of him. He wakes up the next day with a hangover, only to hear that his friends are leaving for Amsterdam. Evan doesn't want to leave, so he looks for work and finds a job for a farm. He finds it and comes across an old person chopping plants. This person is an Italian named Angelo, who can speak a little English. They have a pretty simple conversation, and Evan gets a job without too much effort. Angelo shows him around the house and tells him that his wife is dead. Oh, that's pretty sad. They bond for a bit, and the next shot shows us some foreshadowing when a spider consumes its prey. It is nighttime, and we can hear some really weird cat noises. What is that anyway? There's also a nosy old woman watching over Evan. He finds Louise and tries to woo her with some really bad Italian. He asks her out and succeeds this time. She takes him to a museum with some interesting art on display. Louise says that she's a student doing research on some science stuff that I can't really understand. Like seriously, this goes way over my head, but it's important to note that she's focusing on genetic and evolutionary research. She shows him a book with an old portrait of a woman in it. She asks Evan what he thinks about her, and he calls her hot. This gets Louise a little interested. That's strange. They go for coffee and the girl shares some information about her past. They stay long after everyone else has left, and talk about success and living. They leave and discuss about supernatural stuff while walking. There's also a sad story about a little girl that I'd rather not say. Evan says some stupid stories about a tiny lesbian punching his friend, but it apparently works. They kiss and get down to business. Yeah, the flowers are blooming all right. Oh, and Louise doesn't even want to use protection. That's a little bit suspicious if I'm being honest. Okay, so the lovers are cuddling and holy shit, what the hell is that? Oh my god, she's a freaking monster! She leaves immediately and attacks a cat, and that makes the same weird noises from earlier. What the hell is going on? Does she eat the cats? Man, that was sudden. Evan wakes up all alone, thank god, and resumes work the next day. He learns some Italian with Angelo and finds a cute little kitty on the farm. Evan looks at two different fruits hanging from the same tree. The fruits shift to Louise's eyes, and we see that she's got heterochromia. Then we get proof that she has indeed eaten the cat. Wait, was this cat the mother of that little kitty? Okay, I'm not too attached to Louise anymore. Evan finds her in a restaurant, and she acts like she doesn't remember him at first, but then reveals that she's just messing with him. Hey, what is that embryo-looking thing over there? You know what? Never mind. Nighttime arrives, and they're back at her place. Hey look, cute rabbits. Let's hope they get a happy ending, right? Evan notices some weird old occult book on the table, but doesn't pay too much attention to it. They get comfy, but Louise notices her scales in a reflection and awkwardly goes to the kitchen to take a syringe from her refrigerator, after which she then goes to the bathroom. And, oh my god, just when I'd seen the worst, or so I thought, what in a fresh Lovecraftian hell is this woman? What is that goddamn face? Oh, Evan, you poor bastard. She sticks the syringe inside her and gets out of the bathroom looking all nice and pretty. Evan wants to take her to the beach, but she gives some excuse about using medication that makes her skin sensitive to the sun. Okay, this might get a little confusing later on, but just bear with it. She tells Evan that she tries to be vegetarian, but craves meat sometimes. Yeah, no kidding there, right? The morning arrives and Evan takes a leak before leaving for work. But he then notices the syringe. He discusses his doubts with Angelo, but all the old man has to say, in Italian, is that women are moi, chef's kiss. Evan goes on a stroll and notices a dead animal with a snake slithering out of it. I think it's a sheep or something. But those are some great effects. Even Louise's transformations are pretty well done. Evan confronts her about the syringe, but she gives another medical excuse to cover up the truth. Evan wants to take a photo with her, but she hides her face. Louise wants to talk about his family, but he avoids it, so she gets mad and leaves. He follows her and tries to get her back, but she accuses him of just wanting to brag about sleeping with a foreign girl. They're at the beach, and Evan finally says the truth about his family. He tells Louise that his dad died, and his mom soon followed afterwards with cancer. She tries to cheer him up by saying he shares the same story as Batman, and it surprisingly helps. Yep, this is a weird couple. They get cozy again and share an intimate conversation. Louise shows Evan her real eyes, and for a moment, it looks like everything is going to turn out well. The next day, Evan asks Angelo how the same tree could bear both oranges and lemons. Angelo says that it's because the volcano makes the soil great. Meanwhile, Louise is with a patient, and he complains about some awful smell. Louise notices that it's coming from her armpits. She's getting all scaly again and looks for her solution, but it's not what she wants, so she heads to a cave where she plays some nice music to set the mood for another goddamn transformation. Man, this is all a bit too disturbing for me. And oh no, she's killing the rabbits! Oh my god, this is some twisted shit. Damn it, Louise, don't eat Bob while Sally watches. It's all over and she sheds her skin off. Evan meets her later that night, and it's all good apparently. Yep, the rabbits are missing, but Louise doesn't want to talk about it. Sure, Angelo leaves the next day, leaving Evan all alone. He heads off to the museum and gets himself the book with the portraits. We get some more foreshadowing with the paintings of different people with the same eye condition as Louise. She meets him during daylight and takes him to her boat. They spend some quality time together, and then, for dinner, where Louise asks Evan a very relevant question. Why does he wear the same exact clothes every day? Before she gets an answer, she notices her condition getting worse and leaves abruptly. She's going through the transformation through the alleys, killing plants on her way with just her presence. An unsuspecting dude comes up behind her and says something strange. I mean, why does he say he can't speak French to an Italian woman? Anyway, he wants her to blow him, and well, things don't turn out as he'd like. He finds out that he's in deep shit when he sees her scales, and oh boy, he's sure picked the wrong woman to harass. We finally get a clear look at the monster's face, which gave me a lot of nightmares. And she absolutely destroys the horny bastard. The nosy old lady returns, but now we can see that she's blind. She hears all and sees none. The next shot shows the dude's dead body with his groin ripped out. Ouch. We keep getting some beautiful shots of the city, and it is night again. Evan drops by and Louise isn't keen on having him over, but she soon lets him in after seeing the cops. She tells him that she can't see him anymore. He tries to convince her to keep this thing going, but she's not going to budge. He gets upset and leaves, but not before telling her that she might be the love of his life. She doesn't care and opens the door for him. Evan punches the wall right after passing the cops. That's probably not a good idea. He tells Angelo he can't work anymore and wants to express this, but Angelo points out to the immigration police approaching them, and Evan runs away. He drinks and shares his tragedy with a bartender, who doesn't really care. Evan goes back to Louisa's place and hears some weird noises, so he breaks in and finally sees her transforming. Dear God, this keeps getting weirder and weirder. She's literally like a freaking octopus monster. She signals to the syringe and waits a minute. He goes to help her? What? Did none of those tentacles or anything like that freak him out? Evan tries to inject her, and after some resistance, he succeeds and she changes back into human form. She asks him to shut the door while her freaking tentacle is still dancing. Ugh. Oh boy, does she have some explaining to do. Evan asks if she's like a vampire or an alien, but Louise says that she's a human. When she doesn't explain further, Evan gets upset and leaves. Louise goes after him and tells him that the lady in the book is her. He doesn't believe it. Well, dude, did you not just see what was happening to her just a little while ago? Okay, now things might be getting weirder and more complex, so just bear with me. Evan's pissed that his girlfriend dumped him and became a monster, and she gives an explanation that says that she uses some kind of embryonic process to absorb her own babies when she gets pregnant. That way she can remain young forever. She does this every 20 years, and this way she has 50% new DNA with every full transformation, so that she will end up looking different. Also, she's over 2,000 years old, so basically, after they had sex without a condom, Louise got pregnant and is now in the process of absorbing Evan's embryo to remain young. She continues giving some more science stuff as explanation, like it's something about STEM and other genetic conditions. She also admits to eating her rabbits. Louise, you monster. And Evan is there just reacting to all this pretty strangely. I mean, personally, I'll just run for my life, but hey, I'm just a normal human being, eh? Anyway, there's a really funny scene now when Evan calls Tommy and tells him that he's got a girlfriend who's a monster, and that she got pregnant and now she's absorbing his kids to remain young. Luckily, Tommy is drunk. Evan notices Angelo standing next in front of a statue, crying over his dead wife. Seeing this, he goes back to Louise. He wants to talk about it, and she makes a flower bloom, and says this is all science and pheromones. My pheromones have only made women cringe, but okay. Evan wants to stay with her, but Louise tries to be the sensible one by explaining to him that he'll essentially be sleeping with his own genes if he continues to be with her, and that'll make for some really sick and twisted incest shit. She keeps telling him why this is a bad idea, but he just doesn't listen. I know this can make Evan look like some crazy dude, but he has been going through a lot and Louise is his only escape. She tells him that she doesn't love him, but he disagrees. She then explains that she'll essentially be choosing death if she falls in love with him. She basically won't be immortal anymore if she doesn't absorb the baby, and she doesn't want to give that up over a guy she just met less than a week ago. Louise really is a smart, practical mutant woman. When she tells Evan that the process of transformation takes a week, he convinces her to spend the last of her days with him in the process. She agrees, and they go on a road trip and decide to get naughty in the middle of the road. And then they also discuss how Louise maintains her assets and IDs every 20 years. They're interrupted by cops, but Louise signals to them that it's all good, so they leave. That's very European indeed. The two lovers are sitting by the sea and discuss some relationship philosophy before kissing. Oh, how sweet. And oh my god, there's that monster hand again. They're in Naples now and then spend the day with each other, all cute and happy. They sit in a church where Louise tells him all about the philosophies of science and the supernatural being that he's been living with. Evan then chimes in with his own fear of the unknown. She cuddles next to him, but damn, she's transforming again. Evan tells her to take her injection, and she better do it quick before that tail can attack him. Oh, thank God. Oh, but wait, that's an innocent woman over there who just saw the whole thing and thinks she just saw a zombie doing heroin. Anyway, that's pretty funny, but now she's traumatized for life. The lovers go to another museum where they look at old paintings of Louise. This gives way to an awkward conversation about her age and number of lovers. They discuss how much time she's got left, and she says that it's not up to her. It is her body that will choose whether to replicate the cells or get pregnant. That's because if she falls in love, she will then secrete oxytocin, and this hormone prevents the embryo absorption from happening. Evan finds out that she's still not in love with him, and oh damn it, jump scare! She asks him again if he wants to be with her because she's using up her last syringe. He decides to stay. Okay, Evan, but you might not be thinking straight here, and I can't really defend him anymore. They talk about love, and she reveals that she's never been in love her entire life. They go back to a broken down building in Pompeii, and this is where Louise was born, and where her family had died thanks to a volcanic explosion. Louise warns Evan that when she transforms for good, she's going to become the biggest and sharpest monster he'll have ever seen, and she won't be able to control herself, so she advises him to run before sunrise. They share a few last words before she starts to transform, but Evan begs her to let him be with her. She puts her head in his lap and asks about what it's like to live in the finite. Evan starts talking about life and its opportunities while the camera zooms in on him. We can hear weird, scaly sounds now. Run for it, man, please! Evan really wants to die, doesn't he? He keeps talking about the beauty of life and the sun rises. Hey wait, she didn't transform. She's fallen in love, but wait. Is that the same volcano erupting in the background? You know what? I don't care. It's a happy ending. There we go, guys. That was Spring for you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you liked the video, and support me via my membership programs and Patreon. Link in the description. Do let me know in the comments if you've got any special recommendations that I should cover and also look into. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.